Hello and welcome to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast at We are recording live from the Power Up Live Pro Studio presented by Terra Hive. Thanks to our RE Plus and Suncast Media for hosting us. And today, our special guest, actually my third special guest of the day, is Emily Hwang from Yaskawa Solectria Solar. Did I say everything right?
You did.
All right. Yeah, so nice talking to you here, Emily. And we were hanging out outside and we were talking about all kinds of fun stuff. We were talking about that cannibals and stuff, I guess
And
we could even say, and microplastics. And I was, we were kind of wondering if there's any human cell in the world that doesn't have microplastics in it. And
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think we're
probably
almost all
not.
plastic now.
Then I was like trying to think of like maybe there's some unknown tribe out there that has one splitting embryo cell that doesn't have a microplastic particle in it. What do you think?
I really hope so.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are in a world of hurt.
And I wonder if perhaps, let me just start a conspiracy theory, that microplastics are really the control switch that aliens put into every cell of our body, probably to like create some kind of thing, I don't know. Probably not.
Could be.
I was just trying to start a conspiracy theory, just, like L. Ron Hubbard or something like that. All right. So let's get on with the business here. And so we're out here, we're hanging out at RE Plus. Today's the first day that exhibition is going, and we're right over here at the trade show. There's all kinds of cool stuff. And Emily probably is going to tell me about her really cool stuff, which has to do with converting direct current to alternating current. And that's called an inverter. So what kind of inverters can you sell me right now?
So we do commercial and also utility scale inverters, but the ones that we actually engineer, manufacture in the United States by ourselves are utility scale, string inverters, and also we have introduced a new mini central inverter.
So maybe let's just talk about the sizes, because there's so many different definitions of like what a string inverter is and what a central inverter is, and that's a new term that I haven't heard, mini central. So maybe we could start with mini central, or what would be the opposite of mini central? How about like mega micro inverter?
Mega micro. I guess there are people putting module level power electronics on large scale utility sometimes, which isn't
I had
great.
this idea yesterday to have like giant solar cells that were like 100 amps and put thousands of them together in series. But Bill thought I was just being silly, which I was. He was telling the truth. Yeah. So what's up with what's a mini central inverter?
So we're calling it a mini central because we've noticed that all of our string inverter customers or not all, but the majority of them like to have a virtual central, system, kind of like putting the string inverters all in a pad together and bringing it to a medium voltage transformer. So why not just have one or a larger type inverter? So we've developed one that can be up to 1 megawatt. So it starts at a 500 kW, goes to 1 megawatt, has we have 5 different flavors of this, and people can mix them up and then they can go into a transformer.
So like, what does this look like? So it's like a half a megawatt to a megawatt, and it's got a whole bunch of string inputs?
Yep, a whole bunch of string input. Well, we've got 4 inputs. So you would be combining them and then bring them in.
Still using DC combiners.
Still using DC combiners.
Are the combiners out in the field, and you're bringing them over to the inverters? And a central inverter usually these days is over a megawatt.
Right.
So that makes it a mini central inverter.
Mini central, but I think it is very different because central inverters, the reason why people in the U.S. have loved them is because they're cheap, right? They're cheaper per watt. And then string inverters are more reliable. Like the national the national labs have done studies on it, and they've realized that string inverters are really reliable. That being they have lower downtime. It might be a pop and swap situation. Usually it's a pop and swap strings.
Yeah.
But we've incorporated pop and swap, just taking
I got to use that word in my class, pop and swap. Okay.
But with our mini centrals,
Mhm.
we made it so that our customers can actually bring what we call the Solectria O&M ecosystem into a central inverter mindset so that it's cheaper because it's central, like a larger scale inverter, but they can actually work on the inverter themselves if they go through the right training and they have the parts available. So the downtime is actually lower than string inverters. Well, lower than central inverters without needing to pop and swap the whole inverter itself.
So you can just pop and swap parts?
Like a fan or yeah.
Okay. All right. But like even for like a giant central inverter, I guess you could pop and swap a fan, something like that?
Most of the times when you when you have something fail in a central inverter, you need to call the OEM and have them come out and do the work themselves inside the central inverter.
Okay.
And that's a pain point for our customers, right? Then you have to wait for their availability. They have to make sure they have the part and they bring it down.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about with the ecosystem is our customers train with us and they learn how to swap out components in our inverters. And then they purchase a spare parts kit or a couple of them. So they have the parts that most likely will fail on site already. So they call us when something goes wrong. We see, okay, you've done the training. You have the spare parts kit on site. This is the component that has failed.
Okay.
So go ahead, swap that out. We're going to send you that part under warranty.
Awesome. Okay.
So that's why it's an ecosystem, right? And then,
very cool. Yeah. That's pretty neat. How long do you think until they figure out how to make little robots that are inside the inverter that do all the work? Sort of like the Flintstones, where they had little monkeys in the stoplights changing the lights.
What was the other one with they were living in clouds or like living in pods on top?
Oh, like Up? Is it the movie Up? Pixar?
It was the same.
Oh, the Jetsons.
Jetsons.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think the Jetsons met the Flintstones, I think, one time or another. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people are working on robotics. Technology keeps on improving. Never say never.
Yeah, it might kind of a cool idea that I'm going to come up with. But anyway, right now we're just popping and swapping stories and about all of this stuff. So you got like a 500 kilowatt or a megawatt, and it's an inverter. Like, how big is it? Like,
it's like a refrigerator. Like it's big. Right. It's definitely not small, but it is 1 megawatt.
It's on a pad, I guess.
It's on a pad. It's going to be pad mounted.
Okay. So it's on a piece of concrete in the ground. And it kind of reminds me of like what we used to see a lot of times back in the day. You go back 20 years or 15 years, something like that. And they would have like central inverters that were kind of small. Like, I don't remember exactly how small, like 50 or 100 kilowatts or something even. And there would be like a pad mounted central inverter, and there'd be like
that size,
combiner boxes on the roof coming down. And people weren't really using the types of string inverters that we think of as string inverters these days. So things are, changing. And that's kind of cool that you have like a different product that I don't think anybody else is doing what you're doing there.
That's what differentiates us, right? Like we make sure that we listen to our customers and we bring in what would make their lives easier into the product.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember we were just talking too about I remember Solectria back in the day when I was working in Canada. And I think you were working in Canada too at the time. And there was this feed-in tariff, and Solectria was the company that had a 10 kilowatt 3-phase inverter. I think it was like the only company that had it, and it was a big deal, and everybody wanted to get one because if you had a system that was 10 kilowatts or smaller, you would get 80 cents a kilowatt hour for 20 years with this feed-in tariff.
Amazing.
Which means people are still getting it. They're getting towards the end of their 20 years. And Solectria, I think it was like a 208 10 kilowatt inverter. I'm sure you probably don't make that one anymore, or do you? And it was kind of cool.
It was like a mini fridge, right? Size?
Maybe something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I remember it was a big deal that people could get that. And sometimes they would, get these and get a transformer to make it work with what up there in Canada, they didn't do 480, they did 600, which is kind of weird. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is that we are very close to Canada, especially Ontario. Our headquarters are in Lawrence, Massachusetts. So if we see a need, if we see a market open up in the U.S. or in Canada, say we can be there, right? Like we could be there for our customers. And at that time, I know that we did make 600-volt inverters because of that.
And is the war between Canada and the United States hurting business?
Not right now, because Canada isn't that hot of a PV spot. Our main customers base is in the U.S. right now. So we haven't had influence. We weren't influenced by it.
So you were telling me too, like a long time ago, you were living in Mexico. Is that right?
That's right.
That's kind of cool. What were you doing down there?
Initially, I was working for the National Institute of Ecology, researching bioethanol.
All right.
And how they can implement it in Mexico. And comparing it to Brazil's bioethanol production. And then I loved it, canceled my flight back, and found a spot in an EPC down there. And we ended up making the largest off-grid solar project for L'Oreal at the time.
And that was in
That was
Mexico?
really small. Yeah.
All right.
That was in
Very
Mexico.
cool. All right. So did you switch over to solar because you were drinking the ethanol? Or no?
I switched. I was looking for something in renewables, and I didn't know which one I wanted to work in. But I did have a friend that was working at that EPC. She's like, "Oh, you like solar and you're an electrical engineer. We need you." So I started there, and I've been in solar ever since.
So you were an electrical engineer making moonshine pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So ethanol was out of corn, I guess. Is that like... And no, for people that don't know, it wasn't to drink, right? It's like for energy. So it's ethanol is a big thing for corn farmers and stuff like that. And was it corn down there?
There's sugar.
Sugar. Okay, great. All right. And do you still have any of your old ethanol buddies?
No, that was it was a short stint. It was a very...
So you were down in Mexico for just a short while?
That time, and then I continued it, and I stayed for 3 years.
So you must speak Spanish, I guess?
I do.
All right. I wish I spoke it a little bit better.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of fun to be down there.
All right.
We interrupt you for a very important announcement. Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast has been brought to you by Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That's right, Sean White is sponsoring his own podcast, and he wants to remind you to go check out some of his classes. You can go to SolarSEAN, that's Solar, SEAN.com, and then click on the links to check out his classes. You can check out his heat spring classes, and you can also hire him to teach classes for you, like at your company, something like that. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I was just talking to Sean O'Brien of NABCEP, and they're converting a lot of the stuff over so you can take the test in Spanish. He just told me that they are going to actually have a button where you can click the button and go back and forth from English to Spanish on each question.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So maybe that would be a good way to learn Spanish. Just take an NABCEP test and then see what all the questions look like in Spanish.
If you really like taking NABCEP tests,
I love
hours
it.
of flipping back and forth.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love NABCEP too. I'm part of the PVIP board.
You are?
Not board, the writing.
Oh, okay.
committee.
The exam committee or something.
We haven't met in a while, so I don't really know what's going on with that.
I used to be on that committee like a long time ago.
Yeah, I think I met you.
Yeah, that's right.
You came in for like a dinner once.
Okay. Yeah. Now I remember talking about that with you. Okay, great. Yeah. And so what are the answers?
It's always B.
What was that?
It's always B.
Always B. I thought it was C because if everybody picks C for an answer and everybody gets it wrong, but they all picked C as the wrong answer, then they'll throw it out. That's what.
It might be.
Yeah. But
they'll throw out the question.
Yeah. Like you talked about the psychometricians, who are the people that are the psychologists for writing test questions, that they have this formula that they use. And if everybody gets the question wrong and then they all pick the same answer, they all pick the same wrong answer, they go, there must be something wrong with this question. And then they might throw it out.
That's
I don't know,
right.
maybe
that's
not.
Right. But then you have to get every test taker to know to write C.
Yeah. So you haven't met in a while. And Sean O'Brien was saying that there is going to be, before writing exam questions and things like that.
He's great.
And John Wiles.
Of course.
And anybody that's listening, I dare you to go onto the internet and find John Wiles' suggested practices for the 2005 National Electrical Code 2011 version. And I studied that inside and out. You might have studied that too back in the day or
Probably.
something like that.
Well, I came in for NABCEP for 2008, so maybe not.
When
But I
you-
remember studying a lot of John Wiles's
Oh,
stuff.
oh, that's when you first took the test or
exam,
something.
yeah.
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 And it's kind of interesting too, because he was like the solar code guru and everything like that. And then he's retired for the most part, except he's on your exam committee. And yesterday we asked our class, we're like, who of you in here knows of John Wiles? And the people that rose their hands were like, yeah, you're the old timers, or you've been here for like 15 years or something like that.
I remember when I first joined that committee, I walked into the room and I was almost shaking because I didn't feel worthy because John Wiles was in the room. And I was like, oh, and some other people too. And I was just like, wow, I don't know if I can keep up.
Yeah, I kind of remember something about, like, I mean, I was a little intimidated too going into that room with Wiles. And then I remember that he was just all goofing around. Like the first night I met him, there was a fountain and we were in Albuquerque and he goes like walking into the fountain, getting all wet and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, he's just a goofy guy like everybody else, or, you know.
I think you kind of have to have a little goof in order to be in solar for so long.
Yeah, and I remember my friend Tony Diaz, when we were sitting in a class and somewhere like in Silicon Valley, and it was a John Wiles class and it was like 250 people or something showed up. And I was like, I dare you to ask him to sign your NEC. And he walked up and he wouldn't sign it. So that's pretty fun. And then what it was like, there were some Dans, Lichtman, and Rice. Do you know that? Are those both of those guys? Okay, that's great. And of course, Ward Bauer,
Yes.
the guru himself.
He's the reason why I joined.
Oh, he got you to join it?
Yes. I was laid off at a time and
I believe that.
I went to Solar Coaster. And then I wanted to go to SPI. I think NABCEP was looking for people to sit at their booth. So I volunteered, got to go into the exhibition for free and sat next to him. And he was like, hey, with your background, you should join, our
cool.
committee. I was like, great.
All right.
Cool.
Oh,
Because I was already,
that's awesome. Yeah.
PDIP.
Yeah. So we also interviewed him on the podcast at the NABCEP conference, this most recent one. And he's like on the NABCEP board. He pretty much invented the modern solar industry, the grid tie inverter. He worked at Sandia Labs and just like super cool guy to get to know, super humble and stuff like that. I remember we were in Albuquerque. We would do fun stuff. We went on a balloon ride and like with these NABCEP meetings, we would do fun stuff like that. And I remember he took me into Sandia. We had our first meeting there where I was there. And we were driving by these PV arrays and I was like, what's the oldest one here? And he's like, well, we just tore it down, this one. And I was like, why'd you tear it down? It was like the first grid-tied system in the world from 1977 and they just tore it down. I was like, it would have been kind of cool to just for a proof that solar works for a long time, you know, but.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
But
really
yeah, those you're bringing back some good memories with all that. So, okay, now before we run out of time, which will be soon, the answers to the test, please.
B.
Okay.
Sticking to it.
Come on. So, I guess I had to I wasn't able to tell people either. So, and that's why I'm not on the committee anymore, because it would be a conflict of interest. I remember I had to wait for 2 years after being on the committee before I could start teaching and writing books that have to do with passing the exam. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. In fact, I remember for my last meeting, I didn't go into the room when they were discussing test questions, because then I think we met twice a year or something like that in person. Do you guys still have in-person meetings?
We haven't since COVID. So that's why, like, whenever I see Dave Click, he's like, so when are we meeting? Are we part of this committee anymore? What's going on?
Yeah. I wonder if he's here.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Yeah, cool. I better go look for him. Okay, great. Good. Okay. So what else should we talk about before we get kicked out of this super podcast live pro studio booth here?
Well, I guess I should probably share with everyone, if they are looking for an inverter that is BABA compliant, has non-FIAC.
What was that again?
BABA, Build America, Buy America.
Oh, okay.
Because that you need 55% U.S. content in order to
BABA.
comply.
Okay.
If they're looking for someone who is right now that's FIAC, non-FIAC components, so the foreign entities of concern, they should look at our products. We are non-FIAC. Our products are over 80% non-FIAC components inside, which is very unique. On top of that, we are made in America. So it's really nice to know and have us in your quiver if that's what you're interested in doing.
So do you hear that, everybody? Put some Solectria in your quiver. That's it. You heard it from Emily Hwang of Yaskawa Solectria Solar. Oh. And then where do we find you?
Well, Solectria.com and myself on LinkedIn.
Okay, great. Awesome. Did you see anything really super cool yet? I mean, it is just the
It's
first
early.
day.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that's wowed me, but I'm looking for that, right?
Oh,
Like it's always
I
nice.
got a question for you. Like for the sizes of your inverters over at, is it okay if I just say Solectria?
Yeah.
Because I could pronounce it better. So what's like the small and what's the big one?
The ones that we make, 125 kW.
That would be the small.
1 megawatt,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So 125 kilowatts. And so that is a string inverter.
That is a string inverter.
And then up to a megawatt, and that is a mini central inverter. Okay.
Right. And in each one of these, you can fix it yourself.
Okay. And how about energy storage?
Energy storage, we have DC coupled systems that our customers can work with. Right now, they're at 500 kW output.
Okay. And so how does that work? Do they buy the regular inverter and then they add energy storage to it? Or
so if you are working with what is currently available, that would be a different inverter. It has a -S after it.
For storage?
For storage.
For Sean?
For Sean.
For Solectria?
Exactly. All these S words. But then we also, our 1 megawatt product is going to come ready for DC coupled. So you don't have to buy a different product. And we will have a different input lug for you to go into your storage.
Great,
products.
great. Okay, cool. Well, that sounds pretty awesome. Can I get a whole bunch?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, just sign me up. I'll get $1 million worth right now.
That's it?
Okay. Just to start. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Same.
And hearing about all these different things, all the way from NABCEP exam committee stuff. And you must have been writing the JTA recently, from what I've heard.
I wasn't part of the JTA.
Oh, it's like a different committee. I remember it was like a lot of the same people. And JTA stands for Job Task Analysis. And PVIP is the ultimate NABCEP PV certification, the ultimate PV certification of the whole world. You're so important, Emily, for being on that committee. I am so honored to be here with you today.
I am honored as well.
And then if somebody wants to get the energy storage certification, do you work with that one at all? And that would be the ESIP. Some people call it ESIP. That's the difference between an abbreviation, ESIP, and ESIP is acronym. Too many people say acronym when you can't sound it out. And that's just not correct. Darn it. Got to correct these people.
You have to be able to pronounce it.
Okay, so I guess we're going to sign off here. So thanks so much, Emily. And just as a reminder, we are recording live, even though we're recording it, from the Power Up Live Pro Studio presented by Terra Hive. Thanks to RE Plus and Suncast Media for hosting us. And thanks for listening to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. Go to SolarSEAN, SolarSEAN.com, and figure out how to get yourself the ESIP, the PVIP, PVIP. We need some more vowels in there, and PV needs some vowels. We'll have a lot better acronyms with that. And thanks for Emily Hwang for coming and joining us today on the podcast. Thanks. Woo!